Hey everyone, the next lesson we're looking at is about options you have for ways to save money. So types of bank accounts and ways to save your money and actually gain some money as a result of how you're choosing to save your money. So here we go. If you want to do a practice question and check, probably shouldn't have had that answer down there. Although, hey, why not? Because then you get the right answer, you know you got it right. But obviously, here you can just press pause, try the question, and then press play and see answers as usual. So if you borrowed $9,000 for 5 years at 7.3% compounded annually, determine the amount you would owe at the end of 5 years and what was the interest cost. So when you do the work, you end up putting the numbers in. You notice you identify each of the given values. So the principal is the 9,000, so that's your P. The number of years is 5, so N, and your interest rate is I, but the I would have to go in as a percent, right? So the I is going to go in as 7.3 divided by 100, so 0.007, right? So that number came from, but it's part of the equation, adding 1, so anyways, ends up being that. So you end up owing $12,892, and so the interest is, of course, take that 9,000 you started with away from the amount you owe, and you owe 3,000. You paid 3,892 cents in interest. The next one to give a try, press pause, give a try, and so on. What would you owe if the interest was compounded weekly instead of annually? And what's the interest cost, and explain why the number might be different. Once you had a chance to try that, go ahead and press play again, and so on. So here's the solution for this one. The difference here is we're compounding weekly, which means we have to divide that interest rate into 52 equal pieces. So whatever that interest rate is, in a tiny little piece there, 0.014 or whatever it is. You put that number in, add to 1. So there's your 1.0014. And then you're applying that interest rate 52 times per year. So 260 times in total. Calculate the numbers, you end up with 12,961.31 versus the original 12,948.37, right? And so we end up spending $3,961.31 instead of $3,800. You can see there's more interest because you're putting the money in. The interest gets put back in earlier, more often, and as a result, interest is growing on a larger amount of money for a longer period of time. So if you were to subtract those, obviously you'd be like, how much bigger exactly? The 3,800 take away the 3,900, but roughly $161 or something of extra interest just because of the more frequent compounding. All right. So back to the topic of the day here, your different options for saving money. Obviously, you can stuff the money in under the mattress or in a freezer or dig a hole in the backyard. Those are the classic ways. I'm joking, of course, because those are not going to grow money for you, and they're also not very secure, right? The better option in our society, we tend to find this to be a better option, is to put the money in like a savings account. And instead of just a regular savings account, this video will talk to you about all the options available for high interest savings account. And I kind of want to put this in quotes, be like, well, it's never really very high interest, but some are surprisingly more than others. My bank that I have in this list, I was pretty disappointed to see it's pretty low in comparison to a lot of the other ones. I might think about switching banks because the interest rate is pitiful, even on my supposed high interest savings account that I have. So I won't play this video because YouTube gets pretty picky about copyright infringement and that. So just go ahead and follow this link from this PDF file, or if you want, let me just show you here. Well, in the content page for the lesson, go to the content page for the lesson. It's going to be embedded right into it. So this is just a reminder here, lesson 54. And so to make it easy, content page 54, lesson 54, partially ready here. Oh shoot, I didn't I might have lost my, I did put a lot of that together already, but I didn't save it, or it died on me or whatever. But they're going to be embedded right into there. I'll do that again. Make it easy to watch, and you can just want to stay within inside of the D2L program. Anyways, let me get back to the rest of this. So obviously high interest savings accounts are one way. And then another way is term deposits. And so the main difference, just to clarify right away here, is that, GICs is what I want to compare to. But term deposits, how they differ from just a regular savings account is you say, okay, I'm going to leave this money there for 6 months, or you pick up, you make a sign a contract or whatever, and you leave the money for a set amount of time. In exchange for the security of the bank knowing that money's there for a certain amount of time, you get higher interest. If you end up needing to take the money out earlier, you get charged a penalty, right? So it's, if you know though, be like, oh, this $10,000, I'm not going to need that until next year. You can put it in a term deposit and earn more interest, right? Even better than that would be a GIC. GICs stands for Guaranteed Investment Certificate. They typically are longer periods of time, and you get even better interest. Okay, so that's what this was here. Longer period of time for the GICs. Other options to be aware of is the TFSA, the tax-free savings accounts. So those ones are kind of neat because if you grow interest in that account, you don't pay tax on that. I don't know if you realize this, but if you end up earning, say, $2,000 interest in a year, by the way, you'd be doing pretty good. You have to have a fair bit of money invested. But if you made $2,000, you would end up getting charged income tax on that. And so if you're earning the $2,000 on money that's in a tax-free savings account, you do not pay interest on it. So it's a new thing that was introduced, I think, in 2009 or so. And the other type to be aware of is called an RRSP, so a Registered Retirement Savings Account, or savings plan typically would be for the P. Those ones, they if you are paying tax on, let's say, $60,000 a year, if you put $10,000 into RRSPs, it reduces your total income on paper to be $50,000, and then any tax you've paid on that $10,000 you actually get back. And then later on in life, when you take that money out, you pay income tax on it then. So it might seem like there wouldn't be any benefit to that, but the benefit is typically people put money into RRSPs when they have high income. So they're at a high tax bracket, paying a lot of income tax. And then later on, they take it out when they're retired and have very little income. And so they're taxed at a very low rate. So you save tax overall because you get a large tax rate back as a refund at tax time. And then later on, when you're retired, you pay income tax, but at a very low rate because you have lower income when you're retired. Okay, so those, and there's rules and regulations for each of these about how much you can put in and so on. Yeah, watch through the videos. You'll learn a lot about all the different things. I'm sure the resource I've been going from, and a lot of times here talks about, go and research this. And if you try that, it is so hard to go to a website and actually find out from a bank what their interest rate is for even something as simple as just their savings. It's like they try and hide the information from you because they don't, I don't know if they just don't want to change it all the time because it changes so frequently or what. But it tends to be pretty hard. So I was looking at this thinking, I don't know, that might not be the most enjoyable way to try and learn about savings options. So I used normal life skills of YouTube University and found you some videos that'll help carry you through all the main ideas. Okay, so I hope that works for you. Just watch through those videos, and you can put them on a little bit faster forward if you need to speed them up. I tried to choose ones that were fairly streamlined, though. Some of them were like 30 minutes, and then one was like 8 minutes. I'm like, yeah, 8 minutes, please. And I went through them, and they're pretty good. Okay. In fact, like I said, I went through this one in more detail, and I learned a little bit from that one about the different banks and what they're offering. There's some banks that are offering better rates than what I currently have. So this was news to me because I thought I was doing pretty good. All right. So if that works. If you have any questions, let me know. All right. Here we go. Logging off. Until next time. See you later.